हेलो एंड वेलकम टू अनदर एपिसोड ऑफ द एसएनएस क्रिकेट डायरीज। आई होप आप सब ठीक से हैं एंड खैरियत से एंड डूइंग वेल. So, friends, we've had some esteemed guests on our list on our podcast for the last few weeks and months. We've had noted Pakistani journalist Ahmed Naqvi. We've also had former South African cricket commentator Mr. Trevor Quirk with us. But the guest I have with you today is someone who just tops the list, yeah, and that is my whole and soul cousin Gautam Ganesh. Hello, Gautam. How are you?
Hi. Can I call you Sidhu Anna? This is what I generally call
Absolutely,
you.
absolutely. You can call me
I think
Sidhu.
that's the most comfortable.
So, I mean, for viewers who may not know, Gautam is first
Yeah.
and foremost
Uh,
my cousin, my wonderful one of my wonderful mama's son, and he himself is an avid cricket viewer, but he has some excellent professional acumen and achievements to his credit in a very young career so far, and which we all hope that he will achieve even more in his career. So. Gautam Ganesh works as a policy professional at ONDC. He has previously been part of the LAMP Fellowship, where he has worked with Dr. Shashi Tharoor. He also is an avid cricket follower, and that is why he's here, of course, and but has increasingly now started following football. So I think Gautam, we'll come to that also in a while, although this is a cricket podcast, but I'd like to know a little bit about your football taste as well. And
yeah.
he is, of course, a dedicated and loyal Arsenal fan. So I think we should roast Arsenal in this show, yeah, for the people who might not be Arsenal fans here, yeah. And
I
his
think Anna, you're not reading the Premier League table right now.
I'm
Yeah.
not really, yeah,
It's not.
I'm not following it. Yes. I think we can
Yeah.
discuss that a little bit before we get into cricket. So, but his other interests include the fact that he enjoys cooking and he does follow Indian politics and of course I have been introduced to some interesting podcasts thanks to Gautam. So, firstly, Gautam, kaisa hai yaar? How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. This was, I've been following your podcast, you know, for a while, but was very surprised that when you invited me. But great to be on the show, and of course, thank you so much,
No, in
and
fact,
hello
Gautam,
to all the listeners as well. Yeah,
Yeah, in fact, Gautam, you know, our family does enjoy watching cricket. So, in fact, I'm planning to invite some of my other cousins also. But I think the fact that we have been in touch and the fact that we have also lived together for a while a few years ago and got to know you more. So, yeah, ever since I think you have set out of your
yeah, yeah.
city and you have come to Delhi. We've been able to interact a lot more. So that has made me also, get to know you more and know the fact that you have some interesting things to talk about cricket. But firstly, Gautam, why this move to football?
Um, I mean, I don't know. I think it was just one of those things. See, I think um, cricket will be my first love. Uh, it was always cricket for me when I was young, and I was also part of the school cricket team. So, I mean, for a lot of reasons, cricket has to be my first love. Football, and cricket is one of those things that even now, I just keep thinking that hey, what could it have been for me about with cricket? But but yeah, football I think is a good distraction to have from the first love. Uh, and it started with especially started with the Robin van Persie's last season at Arsenal, and the of course with a lot of friends I was surrounded by, and there's a lot of constant banter that keeps on going, and then that is just one of those things that just sucks you in, and yeah, that's how it started. That's how I started being an Arsenal fan, and then of course you play a lot of these games, FIFA, and I think one of the biggest reasons why there are more football fans today is because of a good video game called which is FIFA, and cricket has never been able to come with a good video game. Of late, maybe yes, I think they've come up with something, but it's never been as popular as FIFA. So I think that was one of the reasons why football happened.
I think yeah, that's quite interesting, Gautam. Jo tune bhi kaha hai that I think that aspect of good quality cricket videos, I mean video games rather, is something I think I would love to talk about that to someone who is an expert in that. It'll be a good topic to have on this platform. But yes, anyway, so we are going to talk about cricket, Gautam. So of course, the topic that when I was thinking of interviewing Gautam, I was thinking that what to interview on, and Gautam himself came up with this interesting suggestion of having sharing our all-time Test and ODI 11s. I'm sure we are of the ODI and the Test era, so we haven't included T20s, I guess. Yeah, Gautam. Although now
Yeah,
T20
yeah,
it has now had a sort of a history to a sample size to sort of bank upon, but I think we'll limit that to ODIs and tests maybe, and that will give us an opportunity to have Gautam again for a specifically T20 related episode. Yeah. So, firstly, Gautam, before we head into that, yeah, please
yeah.
tell us what were your first interests, what first impressions about cricket? Like, when did you first start watching, and who were your first stars growing up, both from India and abroad?
Yeah. So I think my one of my earliest memory about cricket happens to be the 2003 semi-final of India and 2003 World Cup semi-final of India and Pakistan. So I remember in my colony in Ahmedabad, a bunch of all these college guys had gotten a TV on the ground, on the parking area, and then they set it up there. And of course, because the match was happening sometime around the evening, all the kids were also playing. And whenever Tendulkar was hitting those sixes, they were just shouting, and then all of us who were playing in different parts of the colony would just start running and then come to that area to see what was happening. I think just that setup of how they had set up in the parking area, put up a TV, loud, so and everyone was into it. That is one of my earliest memories of cricket. And the other thing was my dad got me this one bat was it just looked the most majestic bats, and it was on demand in the colony. Everyone in the and my colony was huge. It was, I think, had about 4,000 people or so. All the kids in the colony knew my bat. So and it wasn't like a something MRF or some wild bat, but just a good looking and a very some average brand bat, but it was just really good. So I think that really, set the early cricket interest in me. And of course, the fervor that of cricket you have around you, that's just something which, sucks every boy into it. So I think that was one of the, the some of the core memories that, of course, got me into cricket. And then of course I would keep following and watching all the matches very closely. So I think sometime around that time, I think weirdly enough, one of the cricketers who I really liked watching, which was I think around the 2006 India England Test series, was Dinesh Karthik. And I think that series was he just completely dazzled and played so well. And
I
then of
think
course Dhoni
you're
happened, and
talking
then
about.
he lost his career. But
Yeah. I think you're talking about the 2007 India Tour of England, right? Where he performed well.
sorry, yes, 2007, or not 2007. Right,
Also,
right.
Gautam, just to
And
correct
just the
you,
way he performed, I think.
yeah, just to correct you, Gautam, the India-Pakistan match that you referred to was actually a group game. It was not a semi-final because we played Kenya in the semi-final. Of all teams, we played Kenya, if you remember, yeah. So, yeah, just to correct you on that. But yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
Right. Sorry. Yes. Sorry. Correct.
That's okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes. So why
Yeah. So I think
Dinesh Karthik?
so Dinesh Karthik was one of these players in India who, yeah, who I mean, I don't think he's, but I was really happy to see that of how he emerged back, and in the Nidadas Trophy, final, which he won. And that was also a special memory because I remember watching this match at one of our mamas, our mutual mamas place. and it was of course a tense atmosphere, and one of our mamas just lost it and just started running towards me when Dinesh Karthik hit that last ball six. So I'm very happy to see how Dinesh Karthik came about, and yeah, and of course his commentary is quite enjoyable to hear, much better than the likes uh, s- some of our commentators. I know we both have a mutual hatred for. I don't think I'm going to mention them
Mm. Yeah,
here, but yeah. So that was one of the Indian players, and the other player who I really liked watching was Matthew Hayden from Australia.
yeah.
Uh, I think just the way he would come forward and hit those balls. I think that was something I really used to try copying in my batting action, and uh, so just the most incredible aggressive player. And the fact then when he joined Chennai Super Kings, which happens to be my favorite IPL team, I mean that was just the just made it even more enjoyable, and how much all these aspects you don't realize it, and now when you look back at it, you just see that this was one of the aspects that made you like a player, and this, yeah. So
Yeah, and I think Matthew Hayden made that mongoose bat quite famous when he played for CSK. I remember.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
that was great. So Gautam,
yeah,
when you started watching, so you mentioned 2003 World Cup. That was, I think, a turning point in Indian cricket. From that sort of World Cup onwards, we started becoming a major team, a major force in ODIs as well. We had some good years. The likes of Yuvraj and Kev and Dhoni, all emerged around that time. I mean, Yuvraj, of course, a little earlier, but then India started becoming a more consistent team, and why I compare that, I mean, why I say that is because when I was growing up watching, हमारे team में we
yeah,
just have Sachin Tendulkar and to some extent Azharuddin or Srinath and Kumble, but we started becoming a more well-rounded, balanced team during the mid 2000s under Ganguly's leadership, और फिर उसके बाद Dravid, and then yeah, so then going ahead, Gautam, who were the players that, maybe with the advent of T20 and IPL, who were the players who started influencing you in a different way than probably, say, a Hayden or a Tendulkar?
yeah. So I mean, if it had to, so um, so I think one more player who really actually just got mesmerized by was Brendan McCullum. I think I now that I think of this, when I mentioned Hayden and McCullum, I think I have a thing for uh, batters who come forward and would like to strike the balls, and very aggressive openers as well. So Brendan McCullum was someone, and of course, when that IPL opening happened, and then when he scored, I think about 158 runs in that match against RCB. I think that was one of the big. And then of course towards the end of his career as well, and when he was, I think, scoring 300s just for fun, in his especially in his Test career. And now, of course, and I think now even with England, with what was been happening with baseball, I really like the fact how he's changed that complete uh, uh, aura about the English dressing room. In the sense that who would have thought that you could have played cricket, this aggressively, and which is not to say players have not done this earlier,
Yeah.
but I think how English cricket was going, and then to get them to come back, I think that was quite something that I'm really enjoying about McCullum right now. So yeah, so I think the he is one of those players who really interested me.
So talking about,
Um, and Nathan Bracken was one bowler from Australia. I think yes.
yes, yes, continue. Yes,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Nathan Bracken was one bowler. I think especially 2007 to 2010, he was constantly the top ODI bowler, and I think even his looks and his action was quite enjoyable to watch, and also to copy. I think a huge influence of any player on me would be if I've tried copying their action and if I've tried replicating their action. So that ends up being a player who actually has had an impression on me. And of course, many more. And I think we'll be discussing this as we go along. Yeah.
वंडरफुल गौतम यार, जो जो तूने अभी दो नेम्स लिए हैं, जनरली आई थिंक एक क्रिकेट कॉन्वर्सेशन में इन दोनों के नेम्स, ऑल्दो both of them have decent records, but they usually won't feature much, which are Dinesh Karthik and Nathan Bracken. Although I think Dinesh Karthik is now becoming more famous as a keen observer of the game as a commentator, and he's getting gigs in at Sky Sports as well. I mean, so I'm sure he must be doing some good things over there. So yeah, I think Gautam, it's
Yeah.
interesting the names that you have taken, and before we head into the topic of the all-time 11s, just like to ask you one question: how has your relationship with cricket changed over the years now? I know
Mm.
हम जैसे we get into our own professional worlds, we start to maybe watch cricket differently, maybe less, and we become more
It's true. It's true. Yes.
हमारे जो वो गॉडली फिगर्स होते थे पहले, वो दे आर नो मोर गॉड्स, बट वी अंडरस्टैंड दैट दे आर आल्सो ह्यूमंस. एंड so how has your have you started watching less of cricket now? I mean, keeping the football aside, but just generally, has your interest in cricket gone down a bit,
Yeah.
or you still do take a keen interest in some important games, or how is it, Gautam?
So I think what I end up doing now is any any India's any of these series with the Sena countries. I think I'll definitely be following that. I'll try watching the matches as much as possible, but mostly ends up happening that I end up only watching the highlights. But
Mhm.
it's just something that I'll keep following and will be generally clued in on what's happening. What ended up happening of late, I think, especially after I don't know 2014, was that I think I think the number of matches that would keep happening that would just get to me, and then I just lost that that enjoyment that you would have of of watching the matches. I think I just started losing that. But I think it also changed over time. I think T20 I just almost stopped watching. IPL I would only watch maybe say CSK's matches because I mean I like Dhoni you know um and CSK was just a team that of course they were doing so well. Then it's a good team to follow and cheer. So, but yeah, other matches I didn't give two hoots about them, and so yeah. But then Test cricket, I think because the way in which it has re-emerged and it's just gotten my attention back. While I only mostly follow India's matches with the Sena countries, others not as much as I would like to do it. But yes, I think Test cricket has generally re-emerged, so that I'm really happy about it. I've always been a firm believer that Test cricket is the ultimate format of the game. So yeah.
Did you follow the India England Test series?
So yeah, I did. I mean, of course, didn't watch the matches, minute by minute, but was following all the matches very keenly.
What was your take on the series?
I mean, I really think the scoreline didn't do justice to what how the series went along. I think 4-1 was a little bit harsh on England. It seems as if India handsomely beat England, but I think it was quite much closer than that. And but again, I think uh, you thought it just appeared that England could have just played so much more maturely in so many parts of the series, and the scoreline would have looked much different. And of course, India had come with a much weaker squad as well, right? So I think that also was showing. But 4-1 was unexpected, and yeah,
Right. Yeah. I think quite right. It flatters. The scoreline does flatter to deceive. So yeah. Let's head into the topic of the day, Gautam, and we are going to discuss the our all-time 11s. And So whom do we
Yeah.
start with, or rather, what do we start with first? The ODIs, Gautam. I think let's start with ODIs, and then we can go
Yeah, I
into.
think let's start with. But I think before I start, I'm really interested in listening to yours because you were the just started what I think at least you started watching cricket 10 years before I did. So I'm sure while a lot of players that I will include, you might have considered them, but
Hmm.
the crop of players that you had actually watched them playing live,
Yeah,
those are just players that I've just only heard of them. I've of course known of them because they're in the records,
yeah,
but don't actually know on what was their impact while they were playing. So a lot of players who I have included are players they who had an impact on me while they were playing, and
right,
while I was watching cricket.
right,
So yeah.
right. Sure, sure, Gautam. I can
So I
start.
think yeah, let's we can start with.
Yeah, yeah, with the ODIs, I think definitely. Although, as much as I would like to and try my best not to be biased towards the era in which I watched, and also to be able to include some of the present cricketers. Although, yeah, I mean, obviously, I love watching cricket even now. That's why this show is there. But that nostalgic factor is always there when you come up with these 11s, those fantasy 11s. But I'll try to do as much justice as I can to the players of the current era also, because I think with
Yeah.
DRS and so many other factors coming into play, cricket has changed quite a lot. I mean, in some ways, it has become easier with bigger bats, thicker bats, and uh, constantly decreasing size of the boundaries. But then at the same time, something like DRS now, those howlers can no longer be ignored, and batsmen, or for that matter, bowlers can no longer be lucky. Yeah. So keeping that in mind, I would like to start with my opening or the openers, and it was a tough choice. I mean, it's always a tough choice when you have to make a world 11 in any case. So, but yeah, I mean, you cannot look beyond. So obviously I started watching cricket in 96, so from 96 I'm going to take it till now. And my openers would be Sachin Tendulkar, obviously the leading run scorer, and I think the greatest impact on ODI cricket that he has had, notwithstanding Kohli's achievements in this format in the last 10-15 years. So with him I was very tempted to go with Sanat Jayasuriya, because he does offer left arm spin option as well. So viewers, we are
And surprisingly very successful.
yes, yes. Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I was just adding to say, Sanat Jayasuriya is surprisingly a very good left-arm bowler and very successful. I mean, if you just look through the records, just finding his name in some of the bowling records, it's just uncanny given the fact that he was you know, a, a, an opening left-arm batsman with a very average action. Honestly speaking, it was the most primitive action of what it seemed, but yeah, he really did wonders with it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, more than 300 ODI wickets. I think his batting exploits just overshadowed the value that he gave as a bowler. But yes, and he was an excellent fielder
Yeah.
also. Uh, but I will go with Adam Gilchrist. Just the reason why I'm going with Adam Gilchrist is because the kind of impact, again, you spoke about impact, the kind of impact I think he had on me personally and on many of the fans was just immense, because I think on slightly bouncier wickets where and against more quality fast bowlers, I would say that Jayasurya used to struggle a little bit. I think he needed conditions to go his way quite a lot for him to score. And to be honest, I think he also batted in an era where the conditions for ODI cricket were genuinely more conducive to batsmen even at that time. But still, I would say that I think when you come up against quality bowlers like Wasim and Wakar and Alan Donald, I think Gilchrist really shone some of his knocks against South Africa and against Pakistan. I mean, he just used to bulldoze Shoaib Akhtar. And Shoaib Akhtar has said in many of his interviews that he used to really be, I mean, bowling against Gilchrist was quite a tough task for him. So Yeah, I'll go with Gilchrist and Sachin Tendulkar. Um, my number three,
Yeah,
it's tough, yeah, Gautam. I think what we can do, Gautam, is we can simultaneously go position by position. So I think probably you can talk about
yeah. I
openers.
think yeah.
Yeah, you can give your openers.
Yeah, so and I just said Hayden was one of the players who had such a huge impact, on me. You know, uh, just his sheer, aggressive play. It was just really something that I really enjoyed watching. And I also had multiple thoughts about who my second opener would be. And then I thought, I think, it would be unfair to look beyond Tendulkar. Of course, lot of other really good openers who I was very um, who I really wanted to add in. Sehwag was one of them. Of course, he was a bit of a flat track bully, but still, I think
Yeah.
one of those players who's had an impact. But yeah, I think I'll go with Hayden and Tendulkar right on top.
And
And
I think
and
Gautam,
yeah, yeah,
what we can also do while we give our 11s, also we can, like the way we have just spoken, we can also mention and we can give some honorable mentions of one or two people whom who would have probably missed out. I think that would be a good way
yeah,
so that we can actually give our viewers
yeah.
an idea as to how tough it is to choose between players. So number three, Gautam, for
It
me
is. It
would
is. It is.
be number three for me would be a tough choice between I think Virat Kohli and Ricky Ponting. Um, just for the fact that this guy hit some amazing, I mean, gave some amazing knocks in crunch World Cup moments. I will go with Ricky Ponting. I mean, you don't score a 140 in a World Cup final. I mean, no matter how bad Indian bowling was in that 2003 World Cup final, Gautam. I mean, you cannot undermine the importance or the greatness of that knock by Ponting, and of course he has played some amazing knocks apart from that as well, and that's why he has had such a stellar record at number three. So while Virat Kohli, I'm sure the Virat Kohli fans who are watching this would probably like some comments there, but I think you can choose only one. So I think Virat Kohli hasn't had a great ODI World Cup record, so based on that and the fact that I mean there's nothing to choose in terms of technique. Both are technically quite sound players, but I think I would give the vote to Ponting here, and I guess maybe another person who would have been good at that position was I think Stephen Fleming. Many times, Gautam, we don't talk about people from New Zealand, Sri Lanka, in fact, even Pakistan for that matter. So I think they do miss out on many of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fantasy 11s that come. But I think Stephen Fleming is another honorable mention in this because वो जैसे खेलता था that elegance that he had उसकी timing इतनी इतनी बढ़िया थी and I remember one knock against South Africa although that was as an opener but I think he played majority of his innings as at number three तो एक वो मेरे माइंड में आता है उसके अलावा I think probably D'Silva Arvinder D'Silva I don't know whether I think he used to play at number three or sometimes number four as well but yeah I mean and if at number three I would have had Arvinder D'Silva also would have been great but yes Ricky Ponting for all that he brings. So, how about your number three, Gautam?
I think number three is a very important role. I think that's what you one comes to realize. Especially after if it's a great opening stand, then how do you capitalize on it? And if you lose an early wicket, how do you then maybe restructure the innings and then give it some flow. So I think that way, uh, you know there was a certain bias towards Virat Kohli, which I always had because I think just the way in which, especially those initial years of his career, it's very difficult. Just the way in which he went about, and there was this time when he was just invincible, and he was just any match where we had to chase. Uh, he was just going about it, and we would almost always win. I don't think I remember watching any match that we lost. But of course, as you rightly said, his World Cup record has I, just lets him down a little bit. But I would still like to no retain him. I think too good of a limited overs uh, uh, legend to be let out of this team. So I will stick with Virat Kohli. Stephen Fleming also, I think, was I of course again had a strong liking towards him, which of course again comes from the CSK factor. Uh, you know, I think all these aspects, as I said, they have a huge uh, they play a huge role in why do you like a certain player, and elevates them over their normal playing career and just that liking towards them. So Stephen Fleming for sure. Um, yeah, I think that's my number three. No other choice that I currently remember as of now. But yeah.
आई थिंक एक एक चॉइस जो आ सकता है गौतम वो होगा केन विलियमसन यू नो an amazing batsman,
Hmm.
consistent, and
Yeah.
he can, as you said, that number three जो अगर जल्दी विकेट गिरता है तो एक ऐसा बंदा चाहिए जो थोड़ा टिक के खेले एंड he is also capable of scoring at a good rate, so if there are if they have been given a good start he can maintain that momentum. But I think बहुत ऐसे बहुत फैंटेसी लेवल्स में होता है गौतम, आई हैव सीन पीपल दे विल now for example विराट कोहली को अगर रखना ही है so I will probably put him at number 4. Although see number 3 और number 4 उसमें ज्यादा कुछ ऐसा अंतर लगता नहीं है, but then it makes a huge difference when depending on the moment of the game. So yeah, just not for the sake of it I would not put, but yes, I mean it's a huge decision not to put Virat Kohli in any fantasy 11, so with the kind of record that he has had. But
Yeah.
yes, Kane Williamson would also be one person that comes to my mind. Anyway, going to number 4 now, and I had two Pakistanis actually in this regard. One is Inzamam Ulaq, the
Mm.
Pakistani batsman, and also Mohammad Yusuf, known as Yusuf Yohan earlier. अब इन दोनों के बीच में मुझे चॉइस था. आई थॉट ऑफ पुटिंग अरविंदा डिसिल्वा आल्सो,
Yeah.
देन आई थिंक साउथ अफ्रीका का एक बैट्समैन था जैक कैलिस, ऑल्दो आई थिंक ही प्लेड एट नंबर 3 बट समटाइम्स यूज्ड टू कम एट नंबर 4. बट आई वेंट विद मोहम्मद यूसुफ just for the fact that I think technically he was a lot more sound than Inzamam. He could play in swinging conditions as well as on flat tracks, and he was beautiful at milking the bowling in the middle overs. वो spinners को बहुत अच्छा खेलता था, and just so pleasing to watch, Gautam. I
Yes,
think
yes, yes. Very, very pleasing to watch.
yeah,
And I think even more pleasing to watch when you compare it with, Inzamul Haq. Inzamul Haq, for the great batsman that he is. And I think a lot of people widely recognize him. I think maybe just behind Tendulkar as one of the best Asian batsmen, or the best batsman to come out of Asia. So I think that's a huge compliment to Inzamul Haq. I think it's just that Yusuf Yohana, I think there was that period, 4-5 year period between 2003, if I'm not wrong, to 7. I think he was just all over. He was just all over.
yes.
I think that England series which he played constantly was, over the England bowling lineup, and in England for that matter. So I mean, which is again never an easy
Although,
thing to do.
yeah, although
So
although
but
you
yeah,
are
yeah, good one.
although the series that you're mentioning was the format was Test cricket, which we'll come to. But yes, I mean even in ODI cricket he was great. मुझे ये था कि I was thinking of also thinking who else could come
Yeah,
number 4. I was actually thinking of someone from the West Indies, someone like Shivnarayan Chandrapol. But I guess Chandrapol has played almost at every position in his career. He's opened, he has come in the middle, or he's come lower down as well. So I think I could not go beyond Mohammad Yusuf. There were some other Pakistani batsmen as well, like Yunus Khan was there, but I guess
yeah,
that Yusuf had was just.
yeah.
Who is your number 4, Gautam?
You understand?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So you'll go with
So I
Yunus.
think I have gone for Jacques Callis.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've gone for Jacques Callis. again, uh, I mean, I think if you, I think there is one stat that I saw that if you combine the number of wickets of Zahir Khan and the number of runs that Tendulkar made, and Jacques Kallis was, Jacques was, I think, of course, better than Zahir Khan, if I'm not wrong, but he was so close to Tendulkar. And I mean, just for a player to do both these things, and bowling, of course, has a huge toll on the body, but to also even bat and score the number of runs. And I think, when we compare him to today's, some of the all rounders who are currently present, Ben Stokes, Hardik Pandya, Ravindra Jadeja, and of course, many others. I think then it just makes you realize the greatness of Jacques Kallis. I mean, if he was dominating in batting and bowling in the manner in which he was, and while again, I think I have that huge liking towards just the way he used to bat. Just that flow which he had, and that the broad shoulders of his. I think just make used to make him look a very pleasing batsman to watch.
True,
So hence I've gone with Jacques Kallis. Yeah,
true, true. That's true. Great.
and of course, you have, yeah,
No, no, please, please go ahead. I think there is a lag in the voice, so apologies to our viewers. We'll have to bear.
there is, yeah, there is, yeah, and so and then on with on and of course, I would like to hear who your uh other who are the other players that you have thought of for number four.
Yes, I think I've already mentioned the fact that Yunus Khan was someone who I would have been tempted to, and even Aravinda De Silva, and to some extent even someone like a Damien Martin. Such a pleasing player to watch, and in fact, he had that partnership with Ponting in the World Cup final, which
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he made he made 88 not out, and that just totally went unnoticed. But yeah, I think someone who would play spin bowling well, and he had a pretty good career as an Australian cricketer. But yeah, not going much beyond Mohammad Yusuf. So we'll now go to our number five then. Now, in at number five, Gautam, I had many options. I mean, Yuvraj Singh for one was I mean in any all-time Indian ODI 11, I think you cannot go without having Yuvraj. However, for the impact that this guy has had in recent
For
ODI
sure, for
cricket,
sure.
I will go with Ben Stokes because Ben Stokes is someone who can give me a fourth or a fifth bowling option, seam bowling option as well, and
Interesting,
he
very
is
interesting.
he's a wonderful batsman, obviously, and the fact that he has won, I mean, legendary. He's done some legendary things in ODI cricket, winning the 2019 World Cup. I mean, technically they tied it, they didn't win, but
Under very contentious circumstances, but sure.
the fact that I mean, when they needed like 2 runs to win of the final ball, he had that presence of mind to realize that instead of going for a wild slog, why doesn't he just tip and at least take that single to at least tie the match so that they still are in the game? Because with the rule of the super over, they would have had another crack at it, which they eventually did. Instead of going for a wild slog, probably he would have missed it. So I think, in hindsight, all those things look very smart, but I think he genuinely is a very smart cricketer, very thinking cricketer. But again, tough choice between Yuvraj Singh and Ben Stokes. But and I guess keeping conditions in mind, sometimes when we are playing on spinning tracks, probably Yuvraj would be a better option. But I think I would go with Ben Stokes for the overall skills that he brings into the game, which is not to say that Yuvraj I mean, is great. But yes, Ben Stokes is one. Another cricketer I had in mind, Gautam, again going back to my era, would be Michael Bevan, um, an amazing finisher. But I think with changing times and in fast-paced world, I think Michael Bevan's cricket probably would be a little bit outdated. but at that time he used to finish matches of some amazing games. He finished off for Australia at a strike rate of just about 70, 74. He never used to hit too many sixes, but then the kind of running between the wickets he would do was just amazing. So
Yeah.
Michael Bevan and Yuvraj Singh are my two honorable mentions in this list, but I will go with Ben Stokes. What about you?
No, very interesting. Especially the thing about Michael Bevan, and I didn't watch him play a lot. But the thing about Michael Bevan was in all the records, especially around that time, he had the highest average. And especially we used to play this game called the cricket cards game, so where, it was a trump card game of, and Michael Bevan, whenever you got him, he had the highest batting average. So, and the thing is, he's never mentioned, amongst the great players. But I think that time, that period, there was this period when he just dominated without actually being the biggest name. So just imagine, having that sort of a very, very underrated player to come in, around 4 or 5, and to be, and then nobody would expect him to be doing well. I mean, by nobody, I meant the audience, and then just the figures that he got was quite good. Whom I have the player after Kalis I have gone for is Sangakkara. Again, I think although he is one of those players who should be playing much higher up the order,
Hmm.
but I think between him and Kalis we can keep rotating, and I think there'll be a incredible amount of balance and uh, uh, maturity that we'll be adding in the middle overs. So I think very, very, very incredible and extremely smart, very very smart and a cunning player. And the especially that memory of Sangakkara against Sean Pollock just really tells how he really liked to take the game to the opposition. I mean, he just kept on going against Pollock. So and but yeah, and of course, again, I think I think the most graceful looking player I have seen. So yeah,
Any other honorable mention for this position, Gautam?
I think one player the both of us have missed out on, and which would be a crime, is AB de Villiers. If you're talking about
I
limited
was about
overs,
to say that. I was thinking in my mind that how the hell have we missed out on AB de Villiers, Gautam?
yeah, yeah, and yeah, I mean, it's just a, a force of nature. And the thing is, there was this one WhatsApp forward which had come about AB de Villiers, where he has played so many sports for South Africa. He was part of the rugby team, he was part of the football team. And the thing is, when you just looked at him, you're like, yeah, you even if it's a WhatsApp forward, you won't have been surprised that if he's playing all these sports for his country, because he was just so good, and just a freak in the limited overs format. And I had a excellent experience of watching him actually score 100 in Chennai. I think in about 2016, when
2015.
South Africa was touring India. 2015, sorry, yeah, and he scored 100, but of course, and India won. So I think every Indian cricket fan's dream to watch AP de Villiers score 100, and then and India wins.
Yeah, I think it's actually a crime, and people we would love to know your views on this crime that we have committed on not including De Villiers. Would love to know your opinions. So please do put in your comments. Yeah. So yeah, but that's how it goes. We are not going to put one person just because he has in another position just because he has not been put in at number 3 or number 4. So yeah, that's the beauty of this particular all-time 11 that we're making. So yeah, some greats are going to miss out. Now we head to number 6, uh, Gautam, and number 6 is a position that is so critical in terms of the death overs. Usually, a number 6 batsman, given all the constants and all the variables that are there in the game of ODIs, generally would come around, say, the 35th over mark or the 40th over mark, and has to give the finishing touches to a game, to an innings. Yeah. So keeping that in mind, there were a few options which I had. One was, of course, uh, Wasim Akram. The fact is that Wasim Akram was a bowler, but he also used to come at that position in ODIs and would finish off the games. However, I have kept him much later for his bowling, but we'll come to that later. The other person that I had in mind was from South Africa, Lance Klusener. Lance Klusener
Yeah.
was a brilliant hitter of the ball, and he owned the 1999 World Cup. But I think I will go with someone called Joss Butler. Yeah, the current England ODI captain. Um, the way he strikes the ball, the way he can rotate the strike, way he can construct it. So he has all gears with him, and he has the ability to play along. I mean, he this guy has hit hundreds from number 4 or 5 or 6 positions in the past. So, keeping everything in mind, and the fact that he would always be someone who the team can depend upon, I'll go with Josh Butler, and I think. He's someone who I think he's easily one of the greatest ODI batsmen currently, and he will end up as being as well. So these are my honorable mentions and my final number six position for you, Gautam. How about you?
So I have gone for Dhoni, and Dhoni will also be the captain of my team. I think, I mean, I don't know what all you can keep mentioning about him, but if he is just I think for him to come in, any, especially in an ODI game, and especially in 35th or 30th over, or actually whichever stage he's come, more often than not, you would tend to believe that if he will stick around, there is a good chance that you will win, and even if he takes the match to the last over, and so and of course, what he just got to the entire team in terms of his the innovation that he got in just in terms of the wicket keeping skills, and his captaincy. I think that period from 2008 to 2013, when we won the Champions Trophy in England, uh, just completely invincible. It would be unfair to not to say Steve Waugh or Ricky Ponting as the captain, but I think, yeah, Dhoni, coming in that position, being a wicket keeper, being so good at it, and just being an incredible captain, and plus, of course, one other factor, of course, has to be that he is the captain of Chennai Super Kings. So that's one reason why I have gone for him in that position. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Great. Any other honorable mention at that
and
position?
uh, yeah, so I think, just still thinking on uh,
Hmm.
who could. I think Yuvraj was also a good finisher. I think he had his period. Maybe he just came in on number 5. But Yuvraj also finished a lot of games for India, and I think the Dhoni Yuvraj combination was was quite a powerful combination. I wouldn't mind having him in that position. Of course, I think it would be unfair to keep Yuvraj on number 6, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So Gautam, your man at number six comes at number seven for me, and also is my captain, of course, Dhoni. I think any Indian or World 11 can ODI 11 cannot be complete without Dhoni. I think what he brought to the table, dexterity with the gloves, and some amazing skills as captain and as a batter as well were just too good. I think some of his greatest knocks came at the beginning of his career. You know that 140. I think there was 140
148.
48 against Pakistan, which in fact Shahid Afridi mentions that knock reminded him of himself. You know the way he batted. That's a great compliment to have. And of course, that 183 against Sri Lanka that he made that same year in Jaipur. Um, I mean, of
Mm.
course, it just sort of uh, tails into the memory because of being just another bilateral series and against Sri Lanka. With we at a time when we used to play a lot against Sri Lanka. So, but that knock was again was just out of the ordinary. And of course, he's played some amazing knocks later on. And who can forget? I think Gautam Gambhir, if he at all for any reason he's bumped into this telecast, this podcast, he will still be very angry at the fact that he did not get the Man of the Match award for the World Cup final. But I think Dhoni's knock was just amazing. Coming ahead of Yuvraj Singh when everyone would ask that why not Yuvraj? Because Yuvraj was in form and everything, but he just nullified Muttiah Muralidharan, and I think it was Suraj Randeep, the other off spinner. He would constantly hit between the long off and the extra cover region, and he would was amazing. So Dhoni would come in at number seven for me, Gautam. Some other mentions for me, I'm just thinking would be probably I think Moin Khan was a wonderful wicketkeeper batsman for Pakistan. And also from Australia, I think Steve Waugh, although probably too low a position for me at number seven, but I think he probably would have done a good job at that position as well. But I think we are looking at someone who can do a dual role. Of course, Steve Waugh used to bowl as well, but I think Dhoni with captaincy, wicket keeping, and wonderful finisher, he'll be my number seven. How about you?
Um, at number seven, I was thinking of two options. And I'm between Ravindra Jadeja and Shahid Afridi. Um, Jadeja, I think, when he started his career, I think, and especially around the stage right after the Champions Trophy 2013, I think he was still, not quite there. But I think as the years went by, 2015, 2016, 2017 onwards, he started emerging. I think the first few, examples of how he's actually a good finisher, or someone who could just maybe support a number six like a Dhoni, and then take you along, and had the ability to strike the ball. So that one match that I remember was this New Zealand, when I think we had to score about 19 runs in the final over, and he got us very close. I don't remember who the bowler was, the one left arm bowler,
Yeah,
uh, who who Jadeja just
yeah,
whacked him all along, and then of course helped us draw the match. But I think that was one of the memories that I have, because that was one match where all of my friends, we constantly kept watching that final over of Jadeja. So, and then of course since then he's just emerged to be such a handy all-round player across all formats, and being an excellent fielder. I think one of the best fielders India, the best fielder India has produced.
absolutely.
Um, so yeah, I will go for Jadeja. But the thing was with Afridi was such a successful bowler, and then just to come in and just go boom boom all around, and you don't know what you got with him, right? If it was his day, then he would just completely take the match away from you. And uh, but towards the flag end of his career, I saw him give his wicket away way too easily. Like, he'll come in, hit the first two three balls for a six, and then go on the fourth ball, but then he would have contributed about 12 to 18 runs. So I think, um just the just the nostalgic value, because only for the nostalgic value, I think I'll go for Shahid Afridi. Uh, and with especially with his all round abilities that he got. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going with Afridi at number seven, right? And so yeah, I think Afridi as a batsman, his returns decreased as the years went by, but I think as a bowler, he became even better. And number of five wicket hauls he has taken, I think, are much more than some of the leading ODI bowlers in the world. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think good choice.
And
Well
and and the thing with Afridi is you got two bowlers in him, one a leg spinner and a medium pacer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So depending on the conditions, whatever you wanted, you could extract that out of Afridi, because I have seen him bowl at at around 125, 130, which, with his short run up, you're just wondering what is up with his arms, and how is he able to generate that speed.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, in fact, and he also would not take much time in finishing off his over. In fact, there's one video of him bowling to Azharuddin in Canada, and they used to play those Sahara Cup ODI series back in the 90s, and he is telling Afridi Afridi is almost about to deliver, and Azharuddin is just sort of taking a stance and he's not even looking at Afridi, and then he suddenly realizes that Afridi is about to ball, and he says, "Arey bhai, ruk ja yaar, thoda dheere kar." So I think that is one thing that we can all say that Afridi was very fast whatever he does and quick. Yeah, if he has to get out, he'll get out. If he scores a 50 or 100, it will be fun to watch him. So yeah, interesting choice for Afridi at number seven.
yeah,
Now Gautam, अगर मैं अपनी team अगर देखूं, I think it's a bit light
7.
on the bowling so far in the top seven. I think the only genuine bowling option that I've had is Ben Stokes. See, that was the one reason why I wanted to get
Right.
Jayasuriya, but having realized I have got three wicket keepers in my 11. I think it's a very sloppy work on my on my part to put in three keepers, but the value that they bring in.
No, I mean, yeah, no, it's. I mean, you can't blame yourself for having Adam Gilchrist in your team, and yeah. So I mean, just it's very difficult. He was a batsman in himself, and wicket keeping was something which you just got
Yeah,
with him. So yeah, I don't think if ever I would blame yourself, blame myself on having three keepers.
yeah.
So even mine has two, right? Dhoni and Sangakkara, but just two really good players to have, and you would keep them even just purely for their batting abilities.
Yeah. So, and keeping in mind now that Sachin Tendulkar also, I would not bank on him to give me like 7, 8 overs on a regular basis in an ODI. He would come on and bowl those 3 or 4 overs, or just break a crucial partnership, and then you go back to the main bowler. So I don't think Tendulkar would be as reliable as a bowler, although he's picked up like more than 150 ODI wickets. So now I need to really focus on some good quality bowlers. So we can do one thing, Gautam, in the interest of time. I'll give all the rest of the four names together, and then you can give me your four names, and then we'll head to the test. So,
Yeah.
my number eight would be Wasim Akram. The kind of, we don't need to talk about how great he was a bowler, left arm angle. He was good with the new ball. He was good with the old ball, with reverse swing, and of course, he played in an era where batters did not used to play the kind of shots that they play now. I mean, some of the Yorkers that he bowled probably today, batsmen like AB de Villiers would just switch around the off stump line and flick it for a six, and there's so many batters like that now. But yes, I mean the quality that he brought to the attack, he would be my number eight. Number nine would be Alan Donald. He was called the White Lightning. Amazing fast bowler. He could extract bounce from dead tracks in the subcontinent as well. It was lethal with his pace and his accuracy, and his overall demeanor on the field. Gautam was just something to behold. It was a sight. At number
Yeah.
10, me would be, I mean, you can switch between 10 and 11 in terms of the batting order, but Glenn McGrath at number 10, and I would have Sakleen Mushtaq at number 11. I mean, Glenn McGrath, we all know him for his test exploits, but his ODI bowling really goes under. I mean, he used to bowl, his death bowling was amazing, Yorker after Yorker. He never used to get too many wickets. Like, we would never see Glenn McGrath with kind of videos of Wasim Akram or Waqar Younis cartwheeling the stumps, but he would always bowl Yorkers, which the batsman just could not hit. Yeah. And so, yeah. And Sakleen Mushtaq would be my main spin bowler to round off my 11. He would bowl at the death also. He was, I mean, in an era where batsmen used to hit so much, he was actually a main death bowler. And for a spinner to be bowling in the death overs was amazing. So, of course, he had that dusra, which was later banned, but we have to give him credit for bringing that into the game. So yeah, I mean there were some honorable mentions like Courtney Walsh, Curtly Ambrose from the West Indies. Then I think Jasprit Bumrah would have been a wonderful choice for an ODI bowling, but again, yeah, we had to look at only the 11 that we could get. So yeah, these were some of the options for me, which sort of thought of, but I'm going with the 11 that I mentioned. How about you, Gautam?
Yeah. So I've gone for Nathan Bracken, Brett Lee, Malinga, and Murli. So of course Nathan Bracken, as I mentioned, just that just I think when I was following cricket and started I think geeking a little bit more on cricket. Nathan Bracken was just dominating those test records, and especially on 10 sports. I remember there used to be this one ODI and test ranking, show small bit that would come on 10 sports, and Nathan Bracken would keep featuring right on top. So interestingly, Nuwan Kulasekara was also someone who featured quite a lot for Sri Lanka, especially in the ODIs. Not a bowler who was mentioned quite a lot, but was somehow ranked right around the top. Um, Bradley, of course, just the most incredible personality and the most incredible player with his action and his pace and just what he got and what an impact he had on the Indian team in general and to then of course feature with Asha Bhosle in that song was quite a was a really nice one. Um, Malinga, exceedingly good uh, uh, bowler in the limited overs edition. Uh, just what he got in the death overs, especially 40 to 50. I mean, no chance. I think the only player who I have seen who has been able to figure him out was Virat Kohli in that match at Hobart versus Sri Lanka. And
Yeah.
I think that was just the one time I have seen someone who I think even Malinga was laughing, on himself in that what is happening, and nothing that I've bowled has worked against Virat Kohli. And of course, Murli, just his records speak for himself. Uh, yeah, I mean, literally have no words. Again, another huge CSK factor with Murli, to have him in my squad.
Great, wonderful. So I think, yeah, please do keep coming in the comments. Viewers will love to know what are your fantasy ODI 11s. I think, Gautam, it's been an hour now, almost an hour of us. We have really dissected into each and every position that is there in the ODI 11. So I think what we can do is that
Yeah,
instead of going into the test 11 in this episode itself, I would rather love to have you again on the show and do a test 11 on
yeah, absolutely.
episode, right? So I think
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we stick to the ODI 11 as of now, and we'll definitely invite Gautam. That gives me another chance to have another wonderful interaction with my cousin. So great, Gautam. Thank you so much, and
Yeah.
I hope so. On a parting note, what are the chances of CSK winning this time in the IPL?
I think Daryl Mitchell, Rachin Ravindra coming in. I think so. I'm not remembering, who else is coming in, but I think these are two really, players who, especially after the World Cup last year, that it's just you're really looking forward to what CSK can do, and yeah, but the problem is that whenever CSK has bought some of these really expensive players, they've never actually done well. So yeah, I mean, Ben Stokes, Andrew Flintoff, yeah. So I mean, CSK always does well with players, who are some relative unknowns and
Yeah.
come at a very at a very decent price. And but yeah, again, looking forward to CSK and and might just look that this it's just not possible Dhoni can have another tournament in him. It's just like unreal that how is someone playing at this level. But yeah, rooting for CSK to win.
Great, wonderful. So I am sure that we're going to have an exciting IPL. So thank you so much, Gautam, for your time, and we will definitely do another podcast with you on our Test 11 because I think a Test 11 deserves the respect and the time that it should be.
It does, it does, it does, it does, it does certainly.
So great. So thank you so much for our viewers for to our viewers for watching this, and see you till next time. Yeah, bye.